We're Chris and Elaine Whitney. We have the privilege of being the founders of One Gen Away, and it was birthed about, 13 years ago now. Just praying one day, and God dropped this phrase in my heart, one generation away.
Our daughter was born with spina bifida. That was our second child, and it was a great miracle. She had 5 vertebra opening with 17 surgeries, and Chris had lost his job at the time. It was the middle of winter, and I was in the food lines, and the heaviness that you feel, and you feel really invisible, or you wanted to be invisible just because you're so embarrassed and shamed.
Elaine was a stay-at-home mom. And as a man, you felt like a failure, like I couldn't provide for my family. And that was brutal. I hated that. And so, never dreamed you'd be in that line. And thank God, we've never had to be in one again. But I have this thing about never forgetting about where you came from.
From now, seeing it on this end, I just want people to feel like that hope, honor, and dignity. We just want them to feel seen and realize that it was just a season. And if we got out of it, anybody could get out of it.
My name is Alyssa Turturro, and I heard about One Gen Away actually through a mom's group that I was in. So I had recently filed for divorce from my husband at the time, and during the discovery process, I found out that he had cameras in our home, he had put a tracker on my car, had been visiting my place of business, and so I had to get an order of protection and move out immediately, which meant I now needed to pay a down payment for, a deposit for an apartment and then take on those full bills. And I don't qualify for anything. And so that is where I was when One Gen Away kind of came in my life. And when you think about a grocery bill in these times, $150, $200, that's a lot of money that you can use on other things. A few times, like my son had an emergency that needed to be taken care of. And so that food helped eliminate that. This type of giving from the heart without any stipulation is really, really helpful because people assume that I would never need these services. So I just remind people that you never know what food insecurity is going to look like. It has the face of every single one of us in Tennessee.
I've been involved with One Gen Away for close to a decade right now, not only from disaster areas and visiting, but also to the local distributions here in Middle Tennessee. When you're there and you're meeting the people, you're talking with the people, you're hugging on the people, you're praying with the people, it truly makes a difference. Last fall was one of the last distributions we did at Waverly. We were so excited that in the truck that we got flowers. And we wanted to make a special effort that day. Instead of loading those flowers into the trunk or into the back seat, we wanted to present them to the individuals. It could have been a man, it didn't matter. And I went up to a car, and the lady looked at me, she said, "Are you kidding?" And I said, "No, ma'am, I'd like to present you with these flowers along with all this food." She looked at me with tears. She said, "My husband has just passed, and I probably haven't been presented with flowers in over 50 years, and today's my birthday." And she started to tear up. I started to tear up, and I'll leave you with, can it get any better than that?
We've gotten to be partners with One Gen from the aspect that Chris and Elaine have allowed us to distribute food boxes out of our local juvenile court office. And some might wonder, how does that partnership work, and why would juvenile court need food boxes? And what some community members might not understand is that while we do work with a lot of kids who have gotten in trouble, of course, our family court system also serves all dependent and neglected children in the county as well. And sometimes those kiddos can't go home. And in some circumstances, under that umbrella, family members might step in and assist for short-term stays while the family parents, the custodians are getting their feet back under them. For us to be able to help that family with some food needs just right off the bat has been such a blessing, and really provides sustainability for some of those unstable situations. It gives us the opportunity to be something that the the community that we serve might not always think of us as the court system's going to help me. And the truth is the court system's going to lean on partners like One Gen to offer assistance to your family because we care about you and we know you can do better. Providing a food box is the one thing that our staff can do that doesn't require paperwork here at the court system. And that's actually one of my favorite things about it is that the families don't have to meet a certain requirement. We can know the need, we can meet the need, and we can move on.
My name's Officer Ryan Schuman. I am the Public Affairs Officer for the Franklin Police Department, and I've had a lot of interactions over the years with One Generations with different events that they've done throughout the city. But I have more of an intimate story that I had with One Generation Away. I encountered a homeless guy in a parking lot in a grocery store, and this guy had nothing. He had no food, no water. His car was broke down, and he was on his way to Florida, and he had a little dog with him. And he was at his wit's end. He waved me down and said he needed help. And I said, well, what do you need? He said, well, my car's broke down. I need everything, right? And I'll never forget, I'm sitting in the grocery store and I put my head down on my steering wheel and I said a little prayer. How am I going to do this? And I went into the grocery store to get some water for this guy, and I ran into Elaine. And I hadn't seen Elaine in years. And she basically just said, hey, what are you doing in here? And I said, well, it's ironic. I've got this guy out in the parking lot and he's got no food, no water, or anything. And Elaine, she said, is he living out of his car? I said, yeah, but his car won't start because it's broken. And I said, what do you think I can do? And she said, well, I've got a guy named Brian Sweat who is with Mechanics on a Mission, and he can fix the car. And I basically can get you all the food you need and all the water you need. And I was just like, what? I mean, I just prayed about this in the parking lot. And over a week's time, we basically get this guy's car fixed. We get him all the food he needs, all the water he needs, his dog. We give him to the shelter so that he can find a good home. You know, here was a situation where somebody needed help, and you know, they stepped up. It's times like that where the rubber meets the road. And you know, that's where you learn what organizations take care of people.
We started the back of a Hyundai Santa Fe, man, with just this crazy dream. And here we are today, starting to see the realistic possibility, the realism that we are going to see in our lifetime, 1 million people being fed on the Saturday morning. And man, we couldn't do it without you. Without you, this would never happen. And so we just need more yous. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you haven't volunteered yet, thank you for even thinking about it.